Hey, bye, how you been?
Good job, buddy. P1 right there.
Welcome in, race fans, to week 2 of season 21 with No Toad Racing League. I'm Brandon Robinson, back with Faded TV for this season. Appreciate these guys having us back here. Last season was the ARCA series, and of course, you guys caught up with them for the season opener last week, moving to the Xfinity series. And we are here at Thunder Valley at Bristol Motor Speedway. This is the Redacted 200, and you're watching iRacing on Faded TV. And of course, checking us out on YouTube at No Toad Racing League as well. We appreciate you guys tuning in no matter the platform. Should be a pretty good race here. Just the second week. Bristol, kind of a tough race, no matter your experience and skill level. Anything can happen here at the Coliseum. So definitely interested to see what happens here tonight. And of course, some of these drivers uh, very well experienced with the Xfinity cars, and maybe some guys who ran last season. Most of their experience was in the ARCA cars, and now they're trying to pick up the Xfinity series here with No Toad Racing League. So should be a pretty exciting season. Again, I'm glad to be back, excited to be here with you guys, and ready to get qualifying here underway and get to green flag racing. You guys saw the standings there at the opening. Johnny Brugg winning last week's opener, followed by Kyle Gretsch, Matt Piercini, Kendall Kerr, AJ Binish there in the top 5. Jason Benson, Davey Hendricks, 7th. Joshua Grosso, a new driver here with No Toad Racing League. As far as Sunday night goes, raced for Sarge and the No Toads on Thursdays in an ARCA series last season. Good to see him picking up with the Xfinities. Kashishi in 9th and Dustin Barton in 10th. So some familiar names here in the top 10, at least here in the second week. I do believe qualifying session is over. It looks like we actually had a tie for that top spot with a 15.21 was Redding and Johnny Brugg. So Johnny Brugg looking to take that pole position here and looking to pick up his second win in a row in as many weeks here for the season. There you see Gary Sargent there out of Greensboro, North Carolina, the guy that makes it all happen on the back end for these guys. Of course, his other admins and friends putting this league together. 21 seasons. Started off with NASCAR 2K3 20 years ago, and since have adopted iRacing just a few years ago. And everybody old school in the league making the transition, and then, of course, picking up some new drivers along the way as well. So that should be it for the qualifying session. This should be official. Of course, we just talked about Redding and Johnny Brugg there, tied with a 15.1. And it actually looks like the second lap Redding might have beat out Johnny Brugg. So they're still going to share the front row, but Brugg's going to be on the outside. Kyle Gretsch in 3rd, Matt Piercini in 4th. Kendall Kerr 5th, Terry Fullwider in 6th, Marty Rogers 7th, Ileana Hamilton going to be in 8th, Al Corey 9th, Oliver Turan in 10th with Justin Malarkey right outside that top 10 in 11th, with Binish in 12th. Don't have any first names for a couple of these drivers. That's okay. Moving on through the field here. Scott Kelly, Alan Dixon, Gary Sargent, David Rhodes, Corner, Thomas Stanley, John Campbell, John Crutchley, Sid Kashishian, Dustin Barton, and Jacob Klinkart going to be your top 24 here tonight. Followed by Jason Benson, Willie Whitaker, Harris, Ken Olson, 28th, James Lawson, 29th, Will Jester clocked in the 30th position, John Barton, 31, Hyde in that 32nd spot, Creedler going to be 33rd, Skylar Carnes, last season's champion, looks like he's going to be towards the back there, starting in 34th with Tyler Merritt, 35th, and Uris, 36th. 36 drivers here in week 2 around Bristol. It's going to be a tight racetrack, as it usually is. 36 drivers, though, that's pretty good. A pretty good field, so we'll definitely see what happens there. As far as sharing the track with one another, we got 200 laps here at the Redacted 200. Of course, bringing those guys back on as sponsors. They did some work with this league last season. Excited to have them back here for another race. Which, hey, that's cool. You know, they got too long. They got Trevor Lawrence back up front, though, Redding. Going to be there in that yellow and purple car with Johnny Bruggs pulling back in black. We saw that run with Marcus here last season. They call him. He's rocking the Napa 27 here tonight. Matt Piercy, the Mid-South Sports Report 24. So a lot of these guys bring their arcade teams to the Xfinity level as well, which is good for me. There should be some familiarity there. Up and down, these guys trying to call this race. A lot of them have got the Xfinity markets, the Xfinity series. Flag Racing here again. I'm Brandon Robinson for Faded TV. This is No Tone Racing League Week 2 at Bristol Motor Speedway. Sideline. So I think the one car of Johnny Brugg, the 24 Matt Pierce, is going to feel right at home up top. Flag drops. Here we go, side by side. Johnny Brugg out to the advantage. Out in first place behind him, Matt Pierce, trying to get there around the 17th corner of Reading. That's going to be the race for second place early on right here. He's got the 9 car, turning 4 wide behind him. Actually stretching way up against the pole right there. The 24 of Matt Pierce, drops it down low, gets behind the 71 of Reading. So right now, Reading holding on. You lost that top spot to Johnny Brugg early on, but he's able to hold on to second place right now. Matt Pierce in third, behind Gary in fourth, and Gretsch. He falls 2 spots. That 60 Walsh is well. 73 of Liliana Hamilton. Oliver Turin, not a name that I recognize, personally from the Argus. They're up 2 spots right now from 10th to 8th. That's that triple digit car. Double 0, 2. Well, it looks like you're under caution. At least that's what it says on the timing, but I guess not, right? This SDK just got tipped yellow. As we are still under green flag conditions, you see Johnny Brugg out here. He's enjoying himself 1.7 over Reading. He was one of the favorites going into last season. The Arcus here, of course, out dominating this guy like on 7. But Johnny Brugg was more of a part-time driver towards the middle of the season, towards the end. I think if maybe he could have ran a full season. And there's the yellow flag that comes out now. Looks like Marty Rogers now. Corey gets wrapped up and involved in this. So that's going to slow the action down. But I think if Johnny Brugg's given a full season, regardless of the class, that would be a big gets picked up. Oh yeah, side by side. Bristol, especially being week 2, some of these guys still trying to get a feel, get back into the rhythm of league racing, and no other way to pop your cherry on that than do a race here at Bristol Motor Speedway. So we made it double-digit laps before our first caution. I respect it. Johnny Brugg still put the race leader, followed by Reading, who's still held tough for that second spot, turning 4 wide up 3 spots. When he started 3rd, turns 4th, and he's 5th. Liliana Hamilton 6th. Alan Dixon up 7 spots after that caution. He's going to be in that 7th spot. Oliver Turin 8th. Justin Malarkey in 9th. Gary Sargent, along with David Rhodes, who's running 10th and 11th, both up 5 spots respectively. caution was just some too wide racing here at Bristol pretty early on. I think a lot of these guys still trying to figure out where they're going to be as far as track position goes and where they would like to be. But nothing too serious there. Again, a handful of cars, nobody went upside down, or didn't look like any harsh damage for any of the drivers. I'm sure there was one or two maybe had to come down pit road, get some repairs made, but we've definitely seen worse. It probably will later in the night. Other drivers involved in that were Whitaker, Thomas Stanley, John Campbell, and John Crutchley involved in there. But that was more on the back end there, just the fender band. So we'll get these guys lined back up. Get the green flag back out and see if Johnny Rugg can maintain the distance that he had on the first green flag run again before that. Hopefully that's not too quiet. Let me know with the engine noises there. It's been a while since we did some broadcasting here, so it might take just this first broadcast to tinker in. Let me know if that is too low for you guys. That's very disappointing because that was some really good broadcasting there, if I do say so myself. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, let me know, guys, about the audio, because obviously I can't hear it how you guys are hearing it. So, unfortunately, I did an update on iRacing or Streamlabs and changed all my settings, so kind of starting fresh here, just like Redding is here, up into the lead. Johnny Rugg still running P2 right now, trying to get that lead back, keeping it close. Kyle Gretsch in third, so those top three, this is where they started. Eliana Hamilton, though, back and forth. He's up 4 total spots. Terry Fullwider in the green as well in 5th. Oliver Turan 6th. He's up 4 spots. Matt Piercini right now, the only one in the top 10 who's really lost spots. He's down 3. He started P4. He's on the inside right now. Alan Dixon now on the outside trying to challenge for P7, but he's down 3 spots. Alan Dixon up 6 all together. Justin Malarkey up 2 in 9th. And again, before we went green flag, we talked about Gary Sargent. He's been able to find 5 spots in the early going. He's inside the top 10 now. Here is that 2 wide action we were talking about. Matt Piercini in the 24 and Oliver Turan. He was involved in that first caution as well. Because these guys continue to go too wide. Back behind them, it looks like there's a couple. Alan Dixon in that 33, Coca-Cola, the 97 of Justin Malarkey. So some really good action on the back half of this top 10. Back up front, though, the 71 of Redding, ever since he took that lead back from Johnny Bruggs, has done a phenomenal job of staying out front this time. Oh, but we're going to have our second caution of the night. It looks like Jacob Klinkart cornered and Sid Kashishian wrapped up in our second caution of the night. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, you see, some hard bumps out of the 69 into the 5. Nowhere to go for the 19. Smacks hard into the back of the 69 car. Everybody else successfully being able to make their way around that pile. And, of course, the leaders coming through there. There's the 71. See the 27 way down low. Johnny Bruggs, he hits the brakes, waits for them to get back onto the track going the right direction. So good news for the leaders being able to avoid that, but that was some hard hits right there. Some of these guys getting the wave around here, and 200 laps, certainly a long way to go here. Lap 33, we'll see if some of the leaders come down and maybe get some optional repairs. Of course, the guys wrapped up in that latest caution, the 5 you see coming down pit road right now, they're certainly going to get some repairs done. But we'll see how these guys strategize with their tires here tonight. So I like to, 200 laps at a small track like this, you kind of break it down into quarters, what you're going to do in your first 50 laps, then, what are you going to do halfway through the race? And I think last season with the ARCA cars, we had some really good racing going on there, and I think these drivers, and including myself up here in the broadcast booth, learned a lot about strategy, pit strategy, late in the race, middle of the race. And we'll see who was able to, stay on top of that and transfer that to the Xfinity series. Thank you there, Mr. Barton. I apologize for that, race fans who was watching at home. Nothing worse than trying to struggle with audio noise, especially being out of the game, walking away for about a month and then getting back into it. So appreciate the feedback in the chat. Looks like Barton reporting these guys had a lot of technical issues tonight, and the final straw was a black flag for exiting a closed pit. Well, I've been there. It's pretty frustrating there, Barton. So get a little bit of feedback in chat from one of the drivers out there. Nothing worse than technical issues followed by a black flag. Certainly a frustrating night there. So sad to see you park it, but now you get to sit back, enjoy the show, and actually helps benefit me a little bit because now we can get this broadcast to a T here. So second caution, lap 35. We got 200 of them. Pace car off. It's the 71 of Redding with Johnny Bruggs still on the outside. These guys have been 1-2 pretty much the whole night. Eliana Hamilton, really, though, who's up 4 spots, now has a shot to crack into that top 3 for the first time. But Terry Fullwider in that Coors number 9 car holding steady on to the third. And once again, you see the 71 of Redding now being able to win that race off the green flag. And these two jumped out to a pretty successful lead so far. Back in the 9 car, Terry Fullwiler, we just talked about him. He's kind of in a zone all by himself. Ileana Hamilton in that white with red numbers. He's in 4th, kind of holding down to the surge of Justin Malarkey and Matt Puricini. The 97 car of Justin Malarkey had a really, really strong finish to the ARCA series last year. And, of course, the 24 had a pretty consistent series as a whole in the ARCAs as well, if I remember correctly, finishing 2nd overall. And we see the 47 and the 33 getting into it. That's Skylar Carnes. gets a little bit sideways. Looks like he was able to hang on to it. We are going to have a yellow flag, though, because Alan Dixon not having the same luck that the 47 did. There's Skyler. We talked about him all last year. For the first time, his name comes up here in the Xfinity Series, up 27 spots. He's now inside the top 10, but let's go back and see what happened with him and Alan Dixon here. I think Skyler just got a little bit loose. Oh, no, it looks like it was a little bit of technical issues on his end as well, and unfortunately, the 33 and the 002 are going to be victims of said technical issues. So that's unfortunate. Skyler Carnes making his way up through the field pretty convincingly at this stage of the race, and makes a little bit of ghost contact with the 33 of Alan Dixon. That sent him a little bit sideways. Another car gets involved. That's what brings out our third caution of the night. We appreciate you guys tuning in here to the No Toad Racing League. This is the Xfinity Series, where we're going to be broadcasting the majority of the season here on Sunday nights. Multi-broadcasting Faded TV over on Twitch.com. And, of course, where you're watching now, the majority of you guys anyways, on No Toad Racing League's YouTube. Of course, we missed we missed Michigan last week. We're catching it up here tonight with Bristol Motor Speedway. Next week, it's going to be Charlotte Roval on the 30th of January. I'm super excited about that. Roval, one of my favorite racetracks. Then, starting in February, it's going to be Kansas Speedway before we have a bye week because, of course, the Super Bowl. So, luckily, these guys having that off so we can all enjoy the Super Bowl, and unfortunately my team's out of the race. They lost today, so in thriller fashion, but that's okay. After that, though, it's going to be Daytona International Speedway. That's going to be February 20th, followed by North Wilkesboro. Doesn't get any different than that as far as those two tracks are concerned. On the 6th of March, it's Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and then Phoenix International. It's going to be the legacy version, though. Atlanta Motor Speedway on March 20th. Watkins Glen International. That's going to be the Marcos Ambrose 98, followed by Richmond Raceway and Homestead, Miami to close out on April 10th. So pretty good schedule overall. We got some road courses, we got some short tracks, we got some super speedways, and we got some green flag action dropping here once again at Bristol. The 71 of Reading on the inside. Johnny Bruggs on the outside with a nice jump. It looks like he may actually take over this lead. Yes, he does. He makes the clear coming out of turn 2 and onto the back stretches. No contesting coming from the 71. I like this battle between Matt Piercini and Terry Fullwire. These guys have been going back and forth just a little bit. And Justin Malarkey, we were talking about. Here comes Carnes on the inside of the 8 of Consturk. He does make the pass, so there's the 47. You see him rocking tonight's sponsor on the deck lid and the hood. So trying to pick up where he left off last season. Now he's on the inside of the 97. Justin Malarkey at least taking a peek. Justin Malarkey not ready to give up that spot just yet. But what we were saying before that caution, speaking of Malarkey, had a really solid end to his season last season, excuse me. I got a little excited there. They were passing some cars on the infield. I had to look at my left, make sure we weren't under caution there, and we're not. We're still green flag here, but so the 97 also picking up where he left off last season with some solid racing here tonight. The 37. That's Willie Whitaker, also representing the Mid-South Sports Report. Trying to get a line on the inside of Consterk, but not really successful. He's actually going to check it up high and get back single file behind the tight car. Behind him is the 21 of Kerr. He's trying to get a run now on the 37, and behind them in the 88 is Harris. No sponsor for him this evening, it looks like. And unfortunately, Ileana Hamilton, after that second caution, dropped a few spots. Looks like he was trying to... Oh, Gary Sargent having to avoid. Now he's into the wall. Oh, and it looks like Gretsch was involved as well. We saw just the tail end of it. The 28 of Gary Sarge looked like he was... he had to turn hard left down the straightaway to try to avoid a car who he thought was going to come down and door him. But I don't think he would have. He would have just been a little bit more patient on that. I think he would have been fine. But unfortunately, lost grip, went down, hit the inside wall, and bounced back up. And a couple of other drivers involved in that as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at replay. So as the 34 car got a little bit loose, and no, I'm wrong. Maybe Sarge did have to go down there. But now you see, oh, and it looks like Alan Dixon involved in that again. That's going to be his second wreck here tonight, the 33 of Alan Dixon. I think on the tail end here, the 19 car trying to slam his brakes. He does. Good job there by Sid Kashishian. There's Kyle Gretsch in the 27. You see his whole front. He's going to have to come down pit road. Once it opens, though, you see him kind of stopped right there. I think he was having to let the leaders by there because pit road was opening for those leaders. So that's why that was done that way. And on the tail end of that, you saw Johnny Brugg does come down pit road, lap 56 here. But the rest of the leaders, not so much. Redding stays out. Matt Piercini in the 24, he's staying out. Justin Malarkey as well. So Johnny Brugg, he's going to officially drop back to that 11th spot right now, coming down pit road. Not too bad here at Bristol. You can give up a few spots, especially the way he's been running here in the early going. This is the SCP Redacted 200. We had these guys in the broadcast booth last season talking to us all about their virtual reality world that they've created. And, of course, the driver of the 47 car, Skylar Carnes, being heavily involved with their such a unique opportunity that those guys have presented themselves and that entire community. And, of course, we know huge fans of the sim racing world. They were at almost every race towards the back half of the schedule last season. I'm sure they're here joining us here tonight for the Redacted 200. So a quarter of the way through this race, we've already seen 4 cautions, which I've seen worse here at Bristol, so not too bad there. These drivers have been racing pretty competitively throughout the field. We've seen some side-by-side action, which obviously have led to some of these cautions. Up front, it's pretty much been Redding, Johnny Brugg, and Matt Piercini. Right now, though, Matt not having to deal with that one car. We'll see what kind of jump he can get on this restart. Redding on the inside in the purple and yellow. The 24, Matt Piercini, on the high side. Advantage right now coming out of turn 2 is going to go to the race leader, Redding. Matt Piercini, he's going to check up high, get behind him. Justin Malarkey, though, on the inside of Kendall Kerr. That's going to be for 3rd. But we got Dustin Barton involved in here as well. He's in that all-white 13 car. He's trying to make a move. He's going to follow the 21 up high. Justin kind of stuck down there on the inside line right now. And as this track starts getting worn in and the drivers start settling in, we talked about at the top of the broadcast that outside line's really where a lot of these drivers want to be, and the 13 makes contact with the 21. That's Kerr going and spinning around, but it looks like he was able to hold on to it, and behind him, not so much. So unfortunately, one thing led to another, and the drivers that I think initially got into it a little bit are clear, but it's the drivers that behind them, once you start getting congested on a track like Bristol, there's really nowhere to go, and that's what we're seeing here. Unfortunately, the 27 of Gretsch, was just involved in a caution, so frustration certainly settling in for some of these drivers. Let's go ahead and take a look at the replay here, at least try to catch the majority of that. We'll start with Sid Kashishi, and this was right before the caution hit. You see the 21, he was just trying to get back on track. Nowhere to go for Sid. Everybody goes up high. Nobody really gave. You got to give and take here a little bit. Nobody did. Oh, yeah, and you can see right there everything that took place after the fact. So you had a car who's sitting in pit road right there now, kind of get pushed off the track, and they were trying to do their best to make their way. I think they came up just a little bit too high, though. When you rejoin that track, there was still half the field behind. Maybe you want to come in a little bit lower on the shoulder, at least until you're clear. They really kind of just barged on that track. Ileana Hamilton having to move up, which means the car that was up high had to brake check, and, well, it was just an accordion effect there. Lap 65 going to bring out our 6th caution of the night. This is on board with race leader Redding. You can hear the engine cut off a little bit, so these guys already starting to save fuel under cautions at this point in the race, and that's going to be very valuable for a lot of these drivers who know exactly what they're doing, to be able to use this to their advantage, try to be able to take these fuel lengths to the absolute max. At Piercini doing a fine job there. Once he got up to second before that last restart, he's been able to maintain that position. So he'll be on the outside of row number 1 for the second time here with Justin Malarkey in the 97. Again, another driver who's taken full advantage of these cautions right now. He's been able to keep that 97 car really clean during these cautions. He's moved up 8 spots to that 3rd spot. David Rhodes behind him, up 12 spots. He's going to be inside the top 5 for the first time, along with Dustin Barton, up 18 spots up to 5th. So a fine drive for those two drivers for sure. Not only keeping it clean, but getting the track position there, allowing these guys in front of them to be the ones that race aggressive and give up that track position. Look at that paint scheme by the 13. That's Dustin Barton right there. That is that's slick, and of course this is my hood right there, as it says on his hood. But that's a slick looking paint job right there. We're back to green flag racing. Matt Piercini on the outside of the 71, trying to get the advantage up high. I don't think he's going to be able to quite pull it off right now. No, he does not. The 71 of Redding does make the clear. Goes in a little bit high into turn 3 out of turn 4, but does a fine job being able to keep her steady. The 97 of Justin Malarkey now on the outside of the 24, trying to take a peek. He's got help up there. The 13 of Barton, he's going to stick it on the inside and try to ride that line with, oh, and of course, as I said that, he must have spun out. Not too sure what happened there with the 13, but he's down pit road. looks like jumped to the pits as well. Unfortunately, we just missed what happened with him. No caution came out. So Redding now about a half a second plus over Malarkey. Matt Piercini has a little bit of trouble as well. He goes from second to fourth. So right now, Malarkey, David Rhodes in that 12 car, they move up to second and third. Skylar Carnes now up to fourth. He was on the outside of the 24 just now, making that pass. So here comes the 47 now, down into the inside of the 12, trying to strike for third, and he does. Going out of the backstretch right now, down into turn 3. And it looks like he is going to make the clear for third. He's got the sights of 97 now in his windshield. He's going to stay on that inside line. You see Malarkey way up on the high side, almost kissing the wall there. And unfortunately, that does open the door for the 47 of Skylar Carnes. Up 32 spots in 75 laps is the 47 of Skylar Carnes. Right now, going to try to make a move on the 71 of Redding, and looking for our third different leader here tonight. It was all Johnny Bruggs in the opening laps. After our first caution, the 71 of Redding took over up until this point of the race right now. And as we say that, there is the move made by the 47 of Skylar Carnes. So there is a lead change there on lap 76, last season's champion in the ARCA series. Putting in some work here at Bristol. Up 33 spots. That's an impressive drive there for the 47. See Johnny Brugg now on the inside. He makes the pass. He's back up front now, taking that second spot over Redding. Now, we saw Brugg and Skylar at the beginning of last season kind of have a little bit of a gentleman's grudge, if you will. These guys were always competing against one another, and it looks like they're taking that from last season. And here we are now in season 21 with the Xfinity series, different cars, same names up front, with Skylar Carnes and Johnny Brugg running 1-2. Oh, it looks like Willie Whitaker went around. That's going to bring out another caution. Oh, yeah, as you see the back bumper there torn all the way off, and the front too. This could be a big one here, at least for the 37. It most certainly was. Let's go ahead and take a look at the replay. He's on that high side. So you get a little bit of a bump there from the 5. Nope, he just gets up a little bit too high off his corner exit, hits the wall, comes back down. Fortunately for everybody else, no contact there. He's still banging the inside wall there, is the 37. So that's unfortunate for Whitaker, but something that can happen very easily, especially the longer we get into the races, or the race. And these guys' tires start to wear, and you really do got to race your car a little bit different. And his corner exit was just a little too high there. Really nothing he could do. I'm sure he was cranking to the left as much as he could, but just kept drifting up. So that's going to be a pit road appearance for the 37 of Whitaker. You see Skylar a little bit banged up as well, but I assume him having to put in as much work as he had, gaining over 30 spots, doesn't come easy. His fenders are certainly showing it. They're tonight. Johnny Brugg up in second. He came down pit road a couple of cautions ago. That's really been the only time he fell out of contention. He dropped all the way back to 11th. He's now since been able to regain that second spot, which is where he qualified. David Rhodes, we talked about there. He's up 13 spots into third. Ileana Hamilton, who fell back a little bit after surging up to the front, has now regained his positions back. He's going to be in fourth. Terry Fullwider having himself a good run. You see his fenders a little bit banged up as well. I'm sure everybody's will be by the end of the night here at Bristol. But he's up in fifth. Now behind them, this is when it starts getting interesting. We have Creedler up 27 spots in that sixth position. That's the 99 car. John Campbell behind him in the 117, up 12 spots. So we have some drivers here taking full advantage of these cautions. And look how clean some of these other cars are that are just now making their way into the top 10. That is the 99 of Creedler. John Campbell in the Krispy Kreme's 117. Oliver Turan, he's seen his fair share of bumping. You can see right there on that back bumper. But some of these guys just doing a really good job kind of keeping pace, hanging back, letting some of these cautions naturally happen. And now they've put themselves in some good track position as we start making our way towards the midway point of the race. This is Johnny Brugg. He's on the outside. Skylar Carnes in the 47 going to be on the inside here. Pretty nice start for the 47, but you could say the same for Johnny Brugg as he stayed glued onto the back bumper of Skylar Carnes. Lap 91 is official. Ileana Hamilton kind of out there by himself in third. Starting to lose the leader just a little bit. It looks like we're under yellow again. Matt Piracini, Harris wrapped up in this last one. Let's go back and see what happened to the 24 car here. You see the 48 onto the inside. Matt Piracini was having himself a pretty solid night. Looks like he just came down a little bit too low, and the 48 unintentionally got into that left quarter panel. So things are really starting to heat up here as we almost make it through the halfway point. And that's just terrible for the 24. Again, Piracini was having himself a heck of a night. Really hadn't fallen out of the top 5 up until that point. Pretty much all night. He's been as high as second. But was running around that third or fourth pretty much all night before that happened. And remember that 24 of Piracini, he was a contender last season. He finished in the top 3 in the overall point standings, trying to bring that momentum here into the Xfinity Series with NTRL. And, seeing Bristol in the second week of the season, that could be a tough one. Anything can happen here at Bristol. You could run the perfect line, the perfect race, and negative things can happen. I mean, that's just short track racing right there, and especially here at Bristol. So early on into the season, it really does make a statement to have a good finish at Bristol, especially heading to the Charlotte Roval next week. For some of these guys, there are some road course ringers in this league. We saw that last season. Piracini, Carnes, Bruggs, Ileana Hamilton did fairly well at the road courses the last season as well. I'm sure I'm leaving out a couple. But having Bristol and the Roval back to back, that could be some tough weeks for some guys who really aren't considered road course ringers. Maybe they know they're going to struggle at Roval next week, so they're really looking for a good finish here at Bristol. But unfortunately, sometimes things just don't go your way. So, kind of a hard schedule to start off with. But after that, it's pretty smooth sailing up until you get to Watkins Glen. Of course, North Wilkesboro in between there as well. That could be a tough track. But again, we talked about it at the top of the broadcast. A really well put together schedule, in my opinion. We do go to Daytona International. We have some speedways in there. We have short track races. We have 2 road course races. So certainly plenty to look forward to as we go through season 21 here with No Toad Racing League. If you've never been to Bristol IRL, plan to. It's one of the best experiences that you really ever have, whether motorsport related or not. Certainly something that was really cool, and you certainly won't regret it. As Johnny Brugnow on the outside of Skylar Carnes trying to take that lead back. Bruggs had some early success here. You see them almost touching doors. These guys certainly trust each other to the full extent here. Johnny Bruggs, Skylar Carnes really not giving each other any room. A good move by the one as he applied the pressure on the passenger side of Skylar Carnes. It looks like Skylar backed off just a little bit, lifted maybe just a little bit, trying to avoid anything sketchy there. And Johnny Bruggs, mission successful. He takes that lead back. Now all the pressure's on the 47 of Skylar Carnes. Coming up on lap 100. We haven't hit double-digit caution, so that's good. Fingers crossed. The second half will be a lot smoother than the first half. So that's what's going on up in the front. Let's go ahead and make our way through the field here. David Rhodes in the 12. We've talked about a little bit. The 9 behind him of Terry Fullwider. Again, a driver who I'm personally not familiar with, but who's had a heck of a race here tonight at Bristol. He finds himself into the wall there just for the moment. Oliver Turin, again, another driver. And the 12 car gets into the back. And the 9 still trying to hang on. Still no caution yet. Now we hear some contact. Yep, there it is. There's the 8 caution. So the 9 car is struggling there a little bit. Although I'm not too sure if that was the root cause of the caution. The 9 in the Tide car maybe was not trying to take it 3 wide there, cut it down towards the bottom of the track and made contact there. We saw some other drivers involved. Looks like John Crutchley, Willie Whitaker as well. Just on the back end here, everybody trying to slam brakes, and sometimes there's just nowhere to go. Thomas Stanley might have made it out here. I think he just bottomed out, which is why he came up. That's a good job right there. You see him going way low, now way high, trying to navigate through there. Good job by the 40. Matt Piracini trying to get back into the top 10. He started 4th. Now he's currently right outside that top 10, sitting in 11th. Kyle Gretsch behind him in 12th. Gretsch kind of having himself an unfortunate night as well. Qualified inside the top 5, where he sat for the majority of the first 25, 30 laps of this race. Got caught up in a couple of cautions. Since then, he's really now just been trying to make his way back up through the field. You see him right there in 11. So it does look like Piercini is going to regain inside the top 10. Rogers behind Gretsch in 12th. Finished 13th. Olsen 14th. And back in 15th is Willie Whitaker. Another driver's had multiple incidences here tonight. Gary Sargent sitting back there in 17th. John Campbell behind him. Like 22 cars on the lead lap. 22, 23 cars on the lead lap. We started tonight with 36 cars. An impressive field here being presented by No Toll Racing League. Skyler, he's on the outside this time. Last restart, these roles were reversed. Johnny Brugnow trying to fight on the inside. It looks like that outside, just something about it. Runs really well here at Bristol. You see Skyler proving that right now, taking the advantage over Johnny Brugg. Redding back up to 5th after losing quite a bit of track position there. The 71 car, who dominated the first half of this race, now looks to make his way back up towards the front in the second half. He's got Justin Malarkey behind him. Ileana Hamilton in front, though. Hamilton certainly no slouch. It's no luck they're up here right now. We talked about their run towards the back half of last season, certainly coming in to this season with a ton of momentum. But a nice pass from the 71 of Redding. Beautifully done. Now Justin Malarkey trying to work the inside of the 73. This is for 4th. Brugg second, Redding third, Malarkey 4th. That's the battle we're watching right now, lap 114 of 200. Skyler still holding it down in first. Pretty good run here for the 24. We talked about just before going green, he was right there in that 10th or 11th position, trying to work his way back up to that top 3, top 5 situation. He's been able to pull himself back into 7th, so a good drive right now by Matt Piercini. He worked the inside of Ileana Hamilton, who is falling back here a little bit. Benish now in the 7 car. Oh, Ken Olsen crashed. We are under caution. You see him right dead center of the track, doing the smart thing there. Just sitting there, hanging out, letting these other drivers by. He'll sit there as long as it takes for him to feel comfortable to either throw that in reverse and go down low, or just do what he's doing now and getting up onto the high side of the track. So a good job there by Ken Olsen, the experience being shown by the 51. The last thing you want to do, especially on a track like Bristol, is get set sideways, get spun around, and try to, get set in the right direction too soon. Let's go ahead and take a look at a replay here. This is Ken Olsen in the 51 dueling it out with the 48 car. Looks like the 51 just got a tad bit loose coming down onto the 48. I believe those are the only two cars involved this time around. The 48 really not taking a whole lot of heavy damage. The 51, you see the car. The damage speaks for itself on that one, but everybody else behind them being able to avoid that. And again, heads up play here by the 51 to just kind of sit, let everybody through, wait till you're ready and clear, and then get back going. Be surprised how many times you don't see that in league racing. Lap 121, Johnny Brugg does sit atop of the standings. He's trying to make it 2 in a row. He won the season opener last week. Trying to win here at Bristol, which is an impressive feat no matter what. But to be able to take the first 2 races here in season 21 would just be phenomenal for Johnny Brugg. Only a handful of drivers out of the race here tonight. Been some pretty competitive racing. We've had quite a bit of lead changes here at Bristol. Bruggs. Now we got Kendall Kerr up here in the 21, the 34 of Scott Kelly trying to make a run, and the 5 of Jacob Klinkard. So some drivers who've kind of been hanging around in that top 8, top 10 now up here in the top 5. We'll see how they manage. Johnny Brugg managing his restarts pretty good. He's up there in that lead pretty comfortable with Kerr about a car length behind. It's more of a race for second. Here comes the 5 of Klinkert trying to get a run on the inside of the 21. The 21 leaving it open though. You can get a good run on the high side. So the 21 doesn't have to force that door closed every time Jacob tries to take a peek onto the inside. He can stay up top and be able to run that line, ride that momentum outside of the corner exits and be just fine. That's what we've seen him do right now, is it looks like the 5 is going to end his surge, at least momentarily. Matt Piercini back in 13th. He's had an up and down last 40 laps or so. Gary Sargent climbing up here just a little bit. He's sitting in 11th on the back bumper of Ileana Hamilton right now. Trying to get into the top 10. The 7 of Binish on the inside. That's for 11th. Looks like only 20 cars now on the lead lap. You see up top some of these guys, Tyler Merritt and Hyde, I don't think officially making any laps in this race here. Could be doing race control though as well. Whoa, and live, we see it live right there. The 7 into the 73 of Ileana Hamilton, sending Hamilton hard into the wall. Not exactly sure. Oh, you see Hamilton just getting a little bit loose there. He got right onto the back bumper there, and I think it just took all his grip away. Unfortunately, wraps up the 7 of Binish as well on that one. You see the 7 down pit road. And we do have a new race leader here, the 21 of Kerr. Jacob Kleinkardt was, I think, running in that top spot. He's now come down pit road, so that's going to relinquish that to the 21 naturally. Scott Kelly in the 34, black and blue. I believe that is a Air Force emblem. Up 11 spots, though. He's going to be in that second spot, the 9 of Terry Fullwider in the Coors. Again, another driver here tonight who's just had a really up and down night, but when he's in the rhythm and got things going for him, he's a pretty good driver, and he's been in these top 3, top 5 situations throughout the night. He just ran into some bad luck about midway through the race, so it looks like he's been able to rebound and bounce back just fine, at least for the time being. Same with Justin Malarkey, the 97 car. Looked like he was going to be on a tear as he was making his way up to the front before a couple of those cautions. Lost some track position, and it looked like maybe just definitely forgot about him there for a little bit, but he's now back inside the top 5, sitting in 4th. He's got David Rhodes in the 12 car. Behind him, sitting in 5th, and our once race leader, Redding, in the 71 Ford. Going to be restarting this in his worst starting position. He's back here in 6th with Jason Benson and Matt Piracini. So we'll see how these guys fare up front. I think the 21 of Kerr certainly has the speed to be able to contest for the top spot for the most part. We'll see how Scott Kelly in the 34 car handles the likes of Terry Fullwider and Justin Malarkey, who have spent a little bit more time up front here so far tonight. As we drop the green flag back to green flag racing, the 21 of Kerr with a huge jump and early advantage. Terry Fullwider on the inside, as well as Redding, I believe. Yep, on the inside of the 34. Here comes Justin Malarkey as well, and Matt Piracini. So the 34 of Scott Kelly really not having much up front there. Unfortunately, drops back relatively quick after that restart. Back to 7th. Sorry about that, guys. Accidentally clicking buttons up here in the booth. But again, just like I suspected, Kerr really having some pace to be able to hold up front. Now he's got the 71 of Redding, who we know can hold down this race. Hot on his heels right now, the 71 on the back bumper of the 21 of Kerr. Maybe looking to dive down on the inside. Nope, not this time by. He feels comfortable being up top there with the 21. Hanging back a little bit. Maybe waiting for Kerr to make a mistake. But I think Redding also just prefers that high side and will only take the inside when he knows he can make the pass. Here we go, side by side. The 71 and the 21 battling it out for the lead. You got the 97 of Justin Malarkey waiting for either of those guys to make a mistake and be able to pounce on it, and that's what he does. Now he's on the outside of Redding, battling it out for second, right out of the back bumper of the 21 of Kerr. And we got a 3-car race right now for the lead. Lap 147. No Toad Racing League. Week 2 of season 21. The SCP Redacted 200. And a fine job by the 97 of Malarkey using that battle that Redding was having with Kerr to his advantage. And a race for the lead. The 97 of Malarkey on the inside of Kerr. Oh, and he made a little bit of a mistake. He lost some momentum there. Charlie allowed that high side with Redding and Brugg now in the action. Matt Piracini now checking up onto the high side. The 71 down low. In front of Malarkey. Throws the block on Brugg there. Brugg now has to check up. Piracini having to back off. Brugg now onto the inside of Redding. That's for second. Now onto Kerr. I think they almost touched there. Brugg's going to have to be a little bit careful. I think he did kind of give him a little bit of a nudge. Oh, yeah, those guys are really battling out right now, and these leaders now making their way towards the lap traffic. Oh! And Kerr hard into Johnny Brugg. You knew Brugg was going to use that lap traffic as a pick, and Kerr said, mm-mm. And I don't even think we have a caution to come out for that. So Johnny Brugg, unfortunately, well, he could not be happy about that. And now the lead does change hands. Redding gets by the 21. So does Justin Malarkey in the 97. Skylar Carnes up there involved as well. He's back into the top 3 right now. Top 4. Matt Piracini being able to regain a little bit of that momentum that he had lost. And things are heating up here at Bristol. We got guys racing all throughout this top 5. Charging hard was Johnny Bruggs back up to the front. Here comes Skylar Carnes now on the inside of the 97. The 97 not giving him any room. Skylar almost goes around. Some good hard racing for the lead. Looked like Malarkey might have had a run on the inside. He does. He tries to take a peek once again. We'll see if he's able to get by Redding. Not able to make the clear there. Goes back up high as Redding goes back down low. Now Malarkey to the outside. Skylar Carnes on the inside. You got Matt Piracini and Kerr back there waiting for their turn to get involved. You see these guys bunched up right here, the top 7. Battling it out here at Bristol. It's anybody's race as far as this top 7 goes. Right now, Johnny Brugg in the lead, but here comes Justin Malarkey on the inside. We're 3 wide here at Bristol. Matt Piercini, Carnes, and Redding. Carnes splits the gap there. Advantage over Matt Piercini, trying to get the advantage on the inside of Redding. He does the clear on the 71. In front of him, Justin Malarkey and Skylar Carnes battling it out for the lead. I forgot Johnny Bruggs went sideways, so if I said he was in the lead moments ago, I do apologize. That one car of Johnny Bruggs just trying to stay on the lead lap. Skylar Carnes is going to push him out of the way there just a little bit and say, hey, us leaders are trying to race here. Matt Piercini does the thing. Johnny Bruggs just getting tossed around like a rag doll as the top 3 now. Skylar Carnes, Justin Malarkey, and Matt Piercini make their way around the one of Johnny Bruggs. Jacob Klinkart crashes, and we got a yellow. Go back and take a look at this. It's the blue and white 5 car. So that was the aftermath. Johnny Brugg getting pushed around there just a little bit. I don't think the leaders agreed with how hard Johnny Brugg was racing. Now Johnny's trying to do what he can to stay on the lead lap. So, you know, hey, no hate, no blame there. But I think those guys were just getting a little tired of that. So they started pushing him around a little bit. And unfortunately, Klinkart being a fallen victim of that there. Excuse me. So lap 168. I mean, that was exciting there for a good 7, 8, 9 laps. Of course, caution coming out there and spoiling what we had going there. But some phenomenal racing. The top 6 drivers battling it out side by side. We went 3 wide at one point. But all that coming to a halt here. $11 cautions, not too bad for a Bristol race, 200 laps. I mean, I'm sure we'll see a few more if that racing that we just saw is any indicator. I mean, that was some tough battles right there. 30 laps to go. Under caution right now, Justin Malarkey in the 97. Finally, been battling all night long. Finally in that top spot, the 21 of Kerr, going to be on the outside of row 1. Redding in the 71. We talked a little bit about how he was trying to find his way back into the lead. Had some early success here at Bristol before a couple of cautions kind of made him lose some track position. We got Rhodes up there in 4th, Skylar Carnes in 5th. He was really that first driver that started pushing Bruggs around along with Matt Piercini, who looks like he's going to be in 7th. He's going to be behind Rogers and Creedler. Those guys shuffled just a little bit for 6th and 7th. Pace car off. Justin Malarkey on the inside. Kerr on the outside in the purple and white. Good jump by Malarkey. The race for second underway. That's Redding on the inside in the 71. Does he get the clear? Not quite yet. He certainly has the position, but if you're the 71, you'd like to clear the bumper of the 21 cars. He does still have quite a bit of momentum coming off corner exit. You see him take that position back on the backstretch. So that's going to open up the door for the likes of Skylar Carnes and David Rhodes on that outside. They're going to try to make a push for third on the outside of the 71 of Redding. Nothing he can really do out there. The 21 now kind of cuts down low on his quarter entry there. So as these guys were battling it out, Malarkey still holding on to the lead. Kerr in second, Skylar Carnes back up to third. Redding in fourth, 24 laps to go. Marty Rogers 6, Matt Piercini trying to get his way back up to that front. We talked about that a little bit right about 30, 40 laps ago. Piercini looked like he was putting himself in some really good track positioning. Actually fell out of the top 10 at one point. He's now trying to climb back up here into the top 5, maybe into the top 3. Skylar Carnes right now, though, onto the back bumper of Kerr. Checks out on the inside, trying to get a run now. Justin Malarkey in the white and green car, still holding on to that lead. Skylar gets a little bit loose. That might be it for the 71 to make a move. And a smart move by Skylar. You saw him getting in a little bit of trouble. What did he do? He shot up high, shut the door for the 71 to try to make a run. Kriegler has crashed. We don't have yellow flag out right now. 19 to go, under green. We'll try to get a replay if we do fall under another caution, but right now we're going to stay with this race of Justin Malarkey, Kerr, Skylar Carnes, Redding, and David Rhodes. Matt Piercini up to 6 now. Skylar right onto the back bumper of Kerr. Now checks the inside. Can he get a run? Coming out of turn 4. No, he cannot. Advantage still 21. Going into turn 1. Got some cars coming off pit road here. They're going to have to be careful as they rejoin the cycle out onto the track. 17 laps to go. Malarkey looking in his rear view, loving what he's seeing right here. Those guys fighting side by side, giving him a little bit of breathing room. David Rhodes, this is back in 5th. Trying to hold off the 24 of Matt Piercini. Marty Rogers getting in the mix here. Started 7th. That's where he currently sits. Pretty consistent for the 32 car here tonight. Here comes Piercini now onto the inside of David Rhodes. He makes the clear. Can Rogers duplicate that? Terry Fullwider in the course. He's had a little bit of an up and down night. Looked like he was running really good in the beginning of this race. Got into the wall, though, after those first couple of cautions. Oh, and here we go under our 12th. It looks like Skylar Carnes, Matt Piercini. So first we're going to go back to Kriegler. This happened a few laps ago. The 99 car right now, I think, just got a little bit of a love tap. Yep, by the 9 car. I'm kind of surprised that didn't draw a caution. He did a really good job of kind of hanging on, not going back out onto the track. which is why we didn't get the caution. But now, back up front with Skylar Carnes, this is what brought out the caution. And we've been seeing this now for about the last 20 or 30 laps. These guys beating and banging right now. I think the 71 of Redding was just, oh, and Skylar upside down. That's a huge, unfortunate wreck for him. But we saw that a couple of times with Skylar. He would kind of get loose, get slowed up one way or another, and try to really just jump back up high side and cut off the 71. And I really think Redding just wasn't having it that time and gets into the back of Skylar Carnes there. The rest is history, as we saw on that replay. So Skylar going to fall way out of contention here with just 11 laps to go. Justin Malarkey in the 97 doing a phenomenal job holding off that charge. The 21 of Kerr, though, he was battling it out with Skylar for the majority of that as well, which really allowed the 97 of Justin Malarkey to not sweat as much. Now, with Skylar back there, we'll see. I think Kerr has the car to be able to race the 97 side by side for the lead. I think Redding does too. He's sitting back there in third. Marty Rogers in the 32, not too sure. We haven't really seen him up front battling for the lead. Terry Fullwider in fifth, certainly had a successful night here so far. He would love to finish in the top five. I don't know if he's got the speed to be able to challenge these guys up front. So in my personal opinion right now, it's Malarkey, Kerr, and Redding sitting 1, 2, 3. I think these guys are certainly going to be battling it out to the end, and who knows, as we start getting closer to that white flag, the space given becomes a little bit tighter, and maybe a driver like Marty Rogers, Terry Fullwider, Scott Kelly back there in 6, as long as they can stay competitive with their times. Malarkey, Kerr, and Redding, maybe they get into one another. Maybe it opens the door for Rogers to come in and sneak a podium or maybe even a win here tonight. So really, for the guys that are behind Malarkey, Kerr, and Redding, they just need to worry about staying patient, keeping pace, still racing like hell. But, I think their best bet to be able to win this race is to allow these guys up front, these 3 drivers, to battle each other so close and so hard that one of them obviously makes a mistake, and they're there to pounce on that opportunity. We'll see how it plays out. We're going to get them side by side this time by 8 laps to go. So we should go green next time, as long as iRacing can get these drivers in order and where they need to be. Pace car off. Justin Malarkey on the inside in the white and the green. A huge advantage. You saw the 21 of Kerr kind of give that. Now the 71 and the 21 are battling it out for second. And it looks like the 71 is going to make the clear. Checks up high. No bumper and all. Back in second place. Trying to retain his lead is Redding in the 71 Ford. Good job to get around Kerr, but Kerr kind of sandbagged himself on that one. He gave a lot of room to Justin Malarkey on that restart. And really what that allowed to do was Redding to sneak up onto the inside. They were basically side by side, while Justin Malarkey on that restart was all by himself. So a little bit of a mistake by Kerr. Not only did it cost him a race for the lead, but it also costed him a spot for second there. Here comes Terry Fullwider in the 9. Trying to get out of the back bumper. We'll see if he has the speed for that. But we're coming up on 3 laps to go. Justin Malarkey in the 97. Trying to take week 2 here at Bristol before we head to the Roval next week. And if we can make it to that white flag, this race does become official. We spoke a little bit on just how successful Malarkey was becoming at the end of last season and how consistent he was getting and bringing that momentum here into the Xfinity season. And right now, he's 1 lap away from winning Bristol as he's going to take the white flag this time by. He's got nobody around him. Redding is over a half a second behind. Kendall Kerr about 0.8 seconds behind. So that's really not even a race for second, unless if the 71 makes a mistake. Coming out of turn 4, though, it is Justin Malarkey taking the redacted 200. Johnny Brugg was able to salvage a top 10. Pretty impressive considering. Some notables, John Crutchley finishing 15th. Johnny Brugg was said 10th. Kyle Gretsch, unfortunately, fallen out of the top 10. He finished 11th. Gary Sargent, 16th. Matt Piercini, again, looked like he had a car that could contend there at the end, at least for a podium. Finishes 20th. Skylar Carnes, we saw what he got wrapped up in. He's going to finish outside the top 20 in 21st. Justin Malarkey, though, in the 97. Going to get those donuts going, start burning down the house. A good marquee victory for this season. There's a couple of races that you look at the schedule and you want to win. Usually it's Daytona. If you're a road course ringer, you want to win those. You always look at Bristol as, hey, I want to win Bristol, and that's what the 97 of Justin Malarkey was able to do here tonight. So Kerr actually finishing third, Redding finishing second, a phenomenal finish to that race. Let's bring in Redding, who did finish second here. We finally do see a first name. It's Michael. Michael, you got a copy? Michael Redding, you good?
Yeah, you got me.
Yes, sir. So started up front. You and Johnny Bruggs battling it out early on. It looks like you guys, for the first 50 laps or so, really just kind of going back and forth. And he falls back, and you take full command of that lead for a really good chunk. And then, unfortunately, quite a bit of cautions. We were in the double digits right now, and that really opened up the door for some consistent drivers. Kerr up there, who finished third, and then of course Malarkey, who had a really good run winning the race. But at one point in time, there were 6 of you guys racing side by side, bumper to bumper, super intense. What was it like out there tonight at Bristol? And talk to us a little bit about finishing P2 here at week 2.
Well, it was definitely intense late in the race. Early in the race, it was pretty calm up front, and the strategy was about to bite me and Matt, my teammate, in the butt there. But luckily, we got a caution. We come in, got tires, drove back to the front, and one of them cautions, we just had a little bit of a long run, and we pit with the leaders, and it got us back in with the leaders. And then the intensity was ramping up, and man, I don't know. it it got hectic, and then got some contact when Brooke had his wreck with Matt there, and um, I done used my fast repair, so that was a kind of a bad deal for me. I didn't have quite the power on that final restart, but I was hoping for another caution. I thought maybe I could get Malarkey on another restart there, because restarts was definitely my strong suit. But we was lucky to slide in front of Kerr there and get second and just hang on to there. But I had nothing for him there at the end.
Yeah, of course. Once you use that fast repair, you really do have to race a whole different way there. But nonetheless, finishing second, what was a very intense Bristol, especially there about 150, lap 150 on. was just some phenomenal racing up front. Congratulations. And is it Redding? Is that how you pronounce your last name?
Yes, sir. Reading.
All right, just wanted to make sure there. Michael Redding taking home P2. Congratulations.
I appreciate it. I just want to say thanks to my teammates, Matt Parasini, Willie Whitaker, my sponsors, Tidy Services, and Mid South Sports Support.
Absolutely. All right, man. You have a good night, and we'll catch you next week.
All right, y'all have a good one.
Next up, going to be a third place driver, Kendall Kerr in the 21. Kendall, you got a copy?
I got you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, so transferring from the ARCAs last season here to the Xfinity, of course, you guys already ran last week, which I missed, but seeing Bristol on the schedule week 2, you know, everybody kind of steps it up for Bristol, right? I mean, once you see that on your schedule, guys like to perform well at Bristol. And in fact, you know, of course, they want to win it as well, but week 2, Bristol now, you come in, you get a podium. Talk to us a little bit. Um, at one point, we talked to Michael about it. There were 6 of you guys up front, Piracini, Malarkey, Redding, yourself, Skylar Carnes as well. You guys were really battling it out there, side by side, bumper to bumper. There was a lot of lead changes, a lot of position changes going on. How'd you guys be able to keep that together? And what was it like running out there with those guys?
It's always fun when you can get guys together that will hold their line or be where they're supposed to be, and that was definitely a situation there. So hopefully the viewers at home enjoyed it, and that was really kind of my strategy all night, going for points this season. And when you see Bristol that early on, you almost kind of treat it like a super speedway race, and you just kind of want to be there at the end and surround yourself around guys that you can trust. So that's what I tried to do the whole race, and fortunately was able to bring it home third. Nice run for the Ready Foundation Ford Mustang here tonight. Got to give props to Justin Malarkey. I've raced him for quite a while in another league too. In fact, we actually had another duel at Bristol in our other league that I finished first and he finished second. So I was hoping we were going to get a chance there at the end, but 71 had a perfect restart.
Yeah, he really did, and you know, obviously nothing to hang your hat on there. Third place at Bristol, phenomenal win there. Congratulations on P3, and next week we got the Roval.
Yeah, I'm not much of a road course driver, so I'll just be hoping for a top 10. But I do want to apologize for the contact that me and Johnny Brugg happened to get together there. We were trying to get around the lap car. I hate that happened to him, because I think he was the class of the field and certainly would have had something to show the leaders there at the end. I just hate he got taken out in that unfortunate situation, and anybody that gets taken out off the front rear side of my car, I'm gonna not go to sleep 100% feeling right. So I hate it happen.
Well, apology coming out of the 21 camp. Kendall Kerr, third place here at Bristol. Congratulations, and we're moving on to next week.
Thanks for the broadcast, guys. Can't wait to watch it.
Yes, sir. Next up, going to be race winner Justin Malarkey in the 97 car. Justin, you got a copy?
I do. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. So the one thing I talked about a few times in the broadcast was last year in the ARCA, you really started coming on about midway through and towards the end of the season. I could see you starting to build some momentum in this 97 car. And maybe, you know, some things not going your way, but you could see the potential and just the buildup that you were creating for yourself. And obviously transferring over into the Xfinity series, not only did you not miss a beat, but I think you ramped it up a little bit. What does it mean to go through that in the ARCA series, start building off that momentum, and then coming in here tonight, week 2 of the Xfinity series, and taking a win at Bristol?
Yeah, well, Bristol's super fun to race at. This was a great race tonight. We were 3-4 wide, not 4 wide. We were 4 of us battling there for the lead, pretty much with like 35 to go. That was fun. Answer your question, going from the ARCA to the Xfinity cars. These cars are just these cars are such a challenge to actually keep straight half the time going down the straightaways. The ARCA cars get tight. These cars get really tight, but they also don't go straight. Yeah, it's just a challenge. All the cars are just crazy. especially this track, you can really get loose trying to pin the cars down on the bottom. It was a good race tonight.
Yeah, it really was, and I think we saw as viewers what you want to see at Bristol. Nobody really ran away with this race. It was hard fought until the end. There was a time where it really could have been anybody's race between 7 or 8 drivers there. Um, you guys shared the track really well. There was some bumping out there that was just rubbing his racing type stuff, right? Nothing malicious out there. So a really well performed Bristol by the entire league here tonight, but especially you guys up front, beating and banging, being able to keep it together, keeping your cool, and getting that 97 car in victory lane's got to feel pretty good. Before we let you go, the floor's yours for any thank you, sponsors, teammates, friends, families.
Shout out to all of you guys putting on the broadcast, the whole league. I know this league's been around for a long, long time, going back, I think 10 or 12 years. They were telling me, so that's awesome that there's a good group of guys. Yeah, the racing was really clean for it being a short track. Um, there wasn't anything too crazy out there. It's just 31, 32 people out there on this little track, so there's not much room. But yeah, what you were saying, there was all the different pit strategies. I was just trying to time it perfectly to pit one last time and hopefully be the last one to pit with the freshest tires. That was my goal.
Alrighty, Justin Malarkey, congratulations on taking home the checkered, and we'll see you next week at Charlotte.
Thank you. You guys have a great night.
You too. So that is the driver interviews. What can I say here? First night back with NTRL. We'll get the audio fixed. We'll get the 1920 by 1080 picture back to you guys next week. We've been out of the game for a while now, so it felt good to be back here in the broadcast booth, producing some races, calling some races. You can't ask for anything better than a Bristol race that plays out like that. So next week, again, we'll be at Charlotte Roval. We'll be in full gear here at Faded TV. We look forward to you guys joining us for that. This has been iRacing on Faded TV. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time.